So a couple of days ago, I was speaking with a very good friend of mine, and he asked me a question because he was looking at making a very, very important decision. So it got me thinking about how exactly do I make decisions as an entrepreneur. So I don't like giving people advice because the kind of advice that I can take doesn't necessarily mean the same or someone else can take that type of advice, because there are certain things that I can do that other people won't be able to do, and vice versa. So I looked at that conversation and it got me thinking, how exactly do I make decisions as an entrepreneur? As a person, I'm naturally an optimistic person, but at the same time, I'm also a realist. So which got me thinking, when you have two massive decisions to make, what is the best way to ensure you're making the best decision? Because the reality is, you never know the outcome of the other decision. How do you make sure that that decision that you're making is the right one for you? So like I said, I'm optimistic naturally, but I'm also a realist. So it got me thinking, the way that I actually make a decision is by looking at the worst possible outcome. You're probably thinking, you just said you're an optimistic person, but let me explain what I mean. When you look at the best possible outcome, anything can be amazing. But if you look at the worst possible outcome, and if you're able to cope with that worst possible outcome, then it's only upside from there on. So that's the realist side of things. So if you have option A and you went with A, the worst possible scenario that could happen, if you're capable of coping with it, then optimistically you're able to do what you need to do in order to turn that into the best possible outcome. So that's kind of how I make a decision, and I don't think it's pessimistic at all, because if I look at, so I've got two options, A and B. If I went with A, the best possible outcome is amazing. If I went with B, the best possible outcome is also amazing, maybe even more amazing than the first one. But if I look at the worst possible outcome and of A, if that happened, I'm still able to survive and cope with it. But if I look at the worst possible outcome of B, if that happened, it'll probably cripple me or whatever. I won't be able to cope. So from that point of view, I'll make a decision to go with A, because then I know where the standing start is, if you will. If all else fails, I can still cope. Therefore, I make sure I do everything to do so that it's the best possible outcome. Let me give you a more realistic real world example. So about a couple of months ago, I think 2 or 3 months now, I had to make a decision as to whether we want to take a client forward and renew their contract, or we want to drop them. So from the good side of the equation, financially, yes, you want to keep a client because you're growing and it's making the business more money. But if you look at the other side of the equation, I could tell that we weren't the best fit for this client, because some of the things that they wanted us to do just wasn't the way we worked, because we didn't believe we can get them the result that they're looking for in that scenario. So looking at it was a puzzle of, right, do we renew this client and have the financial gain, but you keep the headache? Or do we not renew this client? We don't have the headache. We have time to work with a different type of client and continue growing our other client base, but we lose the financial side of things. So like I said, I weigh both options up. It's like the worst possible outcome. If we lost the client, the worst outcome is we lose that financial gain. But if we kept the client, the worst outcome is we have headache every other day. And looking at which worst possible outcome that I could cope with, it was a case of, right, if we don't have this client, the finances is still okay. We're still in a good shape where we have the time to get more clients and work more on our other client. So which brought the decision of, right, the best decision was actually not to renew that client, because A, we know we weren't the right fit for them after working with them for a couple of months, and B, we know that because we weren't the right fit for them, whatever sort of situation was surrounding it was always headache for us. So from an optimistic point of view, if you will, I knew that we'll have the time to get more client, to do more with our current existing client, and even more time to continue growing our own business. So I'd love to know in the comments how you make a decision. What processes do you go through to help you come up with the right decision? Are you one of those people that have a pros and cons list? Do you make a decision based on gut instincts? However way you make your decision, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment. Until next week, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our channel. For now, see you later.